Welcome back to my channel. Open SQL Server Management Studio or SSMS and create a new database. Here, I created a new database and now I want to create a new table. Now click Execute button to create your table. Okay, your table successfully created. Now we go back to the Visual Studio to add components that we want to save the data into the DB. Here is the project. The project name is personal data. Now I want to connect Visual Studio to the SQL Server. We go to the Server Explorer, click on this icon, connect to the database. Here you have to write your server name. For simplicity, you can just type a dot. And here you can see all the databases that you created on your PC. I select my database and click Test Connection to make sure that Visual Studio successfully connected to the database. Click OK and OK. Now, as you can see here, the Visual Studio connected to your database. For this purpose, I need some components like labels, text boxes, and buttons, and data grid view. So let's add these components from the toolbox. We go to the common controls. We need some labels. Here, we just make it copy and paste. Let's change the text to the full name. Next one is email, and the last one is phone number. Okay, now we need 3 text boxes. Okay, let's align them together. Then we need a data grid view, which is in data tab. Put it here. And I need now 3 buttons. One for save, one for update, and one for delete. Okay, let's change the text and also the name of the buttons. Save. I go to the name btn underline save. The next one is btn update. Also the text should be update. And the last one is delete button. btn delete. Okay. Before I forgot, I have to change the name of the text boxes. txt full name, txt email, and the last one is txt phone. Now I want to create a new class for saving the database address into our class that if in the future our database address will be changed, we can just easily change that text and it affects all the projects. Go to Solution Explorer, right click on your project, click Add, and a new class. I name it CL constring. I made it as a public that I have access to this class from all over the project. For this purpose, I need an string variable, public string, and I name it as a constr equals to double quote. For getting the address of your database connection, you have to go back to the Server Explorers and right click on your DB, click Properties, and here you can see the connection string. Double click, copy, and paste it here. Now, as you can see here, we have a connection string that has everything that we want. Okay, close it, save the project. When we want to have a connection between the Visual Studio and the SQL Server, we have to install package. You can find this package in the NuGet Package Manager. To get access to the NuGet, go to the Solution Explorer, right-click on your project. Here you can see Manage NuGet Packages. Here you have 3 tabs. The first one is Browse. You can search everything that's located there. Here is the install packages, and here is the package that you need to update. You go to the browse and type it here, SQL. Click enter. So as you see here, there is a bunch of packages you can install. The package that we want to use it in this tutorial is system.data.sql client. Click install. Here it needs your authorization and the package is installed. Go back to the form. I made it a little smaller and okay. Now I want to save data into the database. Double click on save. Before go to the save pod, we have to create new instances of our connection string class. So we type it here, CL connection string, CLCon equals to new CL connection. With this code, we have access to all the variables that we are defining here in this class. Let's go back to the save button, click here, type it using. I want to use the SQL connection, SQL connection on equals to new SQL connection. Okay, now as you see here, it needs parameter. Okay, for this connection string, I pass it that class, clcon.connection string. To be able to use this connection string, we have to first open the connection. We type it con.open. Now here I want to write the SQL commands and also the C# commands to insert data into our table. I use the SQL command, name it cmd equals to new SQL command. So now here we need to write SQL commands to insert our data into the DB. If you do not know how to write SQL commands, you can find it in my video that I link it in the top of this video. Insert into personal info. Here, type it the fields, name, email, and phone. We have to pass the values to these parameters. And now I want to pass the values to these parameters. Type it values and in this step, I want to set a dynamic parameters to use it in our code. I use it @ name, @ email, and @ phone. Okay, when you use this @, you can pass the parameters from outside this SQL command. Quotation, and as you see here, this SQL command needs an open SQL connection. Here it's our SQL connection, and here we were open it. I just pass it here. Now I want to fulfill these parameters. I write it cmd.parameters.add with value. So as you see here, it shows you the structure and the inputs that this function accepted. For now, it needs the parameter name, which is it here. In double quote, I write it that parameter the same, and in the next, it's the object value. This is the object that you want to save the value of into a DB. I write it txt full name dot text, and it's done. Next, cmd dot parameters again dot add value. It's now for email, and the last one is for the phone number. Txt phone dot text. Now we have to execute this SQL command. For this purpose, we write it cmd.execute non-query. At the end, we show a message box to the user that the data saved correctly into the DB. Message box dot show. I just show a simple message to the user. Data inserted successfully and done. Now let's go to the update button and write the code related to it. Go to the design view, double click on update, and now again using SQL connection, con. Okay, the update button is a little different from the insert, but the structure is the same. For the SQL update command, write it update, name of the table, Here, set, and write it here the fields that you want to be changed. Name equals to @ name, email equals to @ email, and phone equals to @phone. Because we do not want to destroy all the information that we were inserted into the DB in the past, for the update command, you have to use a where condition that just update the specific rows and data that you mean it. Write it ID equals to @ID. And again, the connection. Okay, the update button is done. Let's go to the delete button. Double click, and it's all the same. Now all the codes related to our buttons are finished. There is one more thing that I want to do. Add one more button here, and I name it as a refresh. Then change the name, ETN refresh. In this command, I want to show you how you can fetch the data from SQL Server into the data grid view. When you want to fetch the data from the database and show it in a data grid view, you have to use SQL data adapter and SQL data set. So now I type it SQL data adapter DA equals to new data adapter, and I want to use my command, which name is CMD. Then I set it into the data set. DS equals to new data set. And the last part, we have to fill the data adapter, DA dot fields DS. Now I want to throw all the data into the data grid view. Write it the name, data grid view dot data source equals to DS. Save the project, and let's run the project and see if we have any errors or not. Okay, name Ali, email ali@gmail.com, and the phone number is 123. Let's click save. Okay, it shows the keyword not supported, trusted server certificate, which means our connection string has problem. Let's go back to the connection string class. And as you see in the error, it says this trusted server certificate is not supported. Let's delete it, save, run again the project. So as you see here, the data inserted successfully into our database. Let's click the refresh and see if any data inserted to the DB or not. Click refresh, nothing happened. Now we want to debug the code and see where is the problem. Stop. If you click here, there is a breakpoint located here. And when you started your project, the code stopped at this line of code. Now run the project again and click refresh. As you see, the project stopped at this line that I already put a breakpoint. To go through the code, you have several options. You have some icons here that, as you see here, with F11, you can step into the code. F10, you can step over. And with Shift plus F11, you can step out from the code. Now I want to go inside the code. Click F11, it goes inside, and here. So as up to here, we have no problems. When go with your mouse on an object, you can see the data that's located in that object. I put mouse on this object, click view, and as you see here, the data is already there. But why it's not showing into the data grid view, I will tell you. The problem is this code. I made it stop. So when you use this data set, you have to address it which table you want to show it. I click dot tables 0, which means the first table that located in our data set pass into the data grid view data source. Run again the project. Okay, click refresh. It goes again. I want to set out the breakpoint. Again, click on this area. The red circle is gone and I click continue. You see here your data is there. Okay, I just want to add another data. John J at yahoo.com and the phone number is 321. Save. Data inserted successfully. Refresh and the data is here. Now we see the problem. The data that we already inserted to the database are not deleted from our text boxes. For this, we have to make the text boxes empty after we click on Save button. Stop, go back to the Save button, and after the data was successfully inserted into the database, I made the text boxes empty. Txt full name dot clear. It makes the text from the text boxes clear. Email cleared, and the last one is phone number. I also need these for update. Just copy and paste it here. Let's test and click save. So as you see, the text boxes was cleared. Click refresh and you see your data. If you remember, for update button, I just add a static number here for update command. For example, Mac, and the email is mac@gmail.com and the phone number is 963. I click update and refresh. So as you see here, the first row was changed. Why? Because I set it here, the static number, which is 1. Now we want to make it this dynamic. I stop the project, go back to the design view, change a little position of these components, and I need a label for ID and a text box that show the ID. But this ID cannot be changed. So I go to the properties and made it as a read only, which means you cannot change the data of this text box. Okay, now let's write some codes that when the user double click on each rows of this data grid view, the data will show into these text boxes. Click on the data grid view, go to the properties, go to the events, and let's find this cell double click. We see the cell double click, we write it down, txt full name dot text equals to data grid view dot rows e dot row index dot cells. Here you have to write the index of the cell that you want to show the data in the text box. In data grid view, indexes are started with 0. The 0 index is ID, so here we write it 1. We need value dot to string. The next txt email dot text equals to data grid view dot rows. Again, e dot row index dot cells 2 dot value dot to string. Txt font dot text equals to data grid view dot rows. Here we forgot to show the data of the ID column. Go back to the design view. With F4, you can access to the properties. Change the text and the name. Txt ID. Go back to our code. Here, txt ID dot text equals to data grid view dot rows e dot row index dot cells 0 dot value string. Let's test the program. Refresh, fetch the data from the DB, double click on it, and the data show here. John, let's go back to the update and delete both and made it dynamic. I write it txt id.text. And for the delete, txt id.text. Okay, let's test the program. Refresh, double click on John, change the number to 2525. Let's click update. Data updated successfully. Okay, and refresh. As you see here, the phone number updated. And I want to delete the Jack record. Delete, refresh, and well done. We have built a fully functional Visual Studio project that takes personal data input and save it directly into SQL Server using SQL commands. This project is fantastic starting point for anyone looking to build database applications. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe for more programming tutorials. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.